Hello and welcome back to a new episode of the Mind Blueprint podcast. This is episode number 4, and in this podcast, we're going to be talking about egos, how they're holding you back, and what you can really do to, humble yourself a bit more. Because lately, I've seen a lot of people that are trying new things, have had some success in their chosen field, and I've seen the detriment of their ego, their head getting too big to what they're actually like, what they've achieved. They think they are bigger than, in fact, they're just a lot bigger than they think that, well, than they actually are, and how it's had a massive detriment to what they're doing, what they have done, and how it will hinder them in the process of what they're trying to achieve. Now, I am 20 years old, as you all know, and I'm very excited because at school I felt like I didn't really fit in. I wasn't, not the fact that I didn't fit in socially or in school, I just felt like school wasn't for me. I didn't really like the subjects. I just felt like it was not what I was not destined to do. It's just I didn't really enjoy them, as a lot of people do now. A lot of people do enjoy the subjects they do, but a lot of people feel like school isn't for them. A lot of people do go to uni, and a lot of people don't go to uni. It's just personal preferences. So I felt like at the time of me doing school that it wasn't right for me. It wasn't where I felt like I belonged. It wasn't where I wanted to be. It is not somewhere I wanted to take any further. Now, that is not any slander on the educational system, because I feel like it is great. But I just feel like it's an old model that has been going on for 150, 200 years old, and it's just outdated. So there's a lot of one size fits all model, and yeah, I just felt like it wasn't for me. So I didn't go to uni because I just didn't want to carry that education on any further. Now, this isn't me slandering education in terms of learning, because I love learning. I love learning new things. I think self-learning or knowledge is very important, because a lot of people don't read. I'm not an average reader as I should be, as much as I should be reading more books, because I do try and read more books, but I find myself often watching YouTube or watching Netflix. Now, I'm only human, but I do believe reading, teaching yourself new things, educating yourself on different topics is very, very, very important. And not a lot of people do this. When they finish school, when they finish uni, that's it. That's the education they will do for the rest of their lives. They have no interest in personal development, self-development, and it can really stagnate people. People remain in the same position for many, many, many years and just aren't progressing as they would do. Now, if you're happy with where you are, if you're content with your life, and you have achieved everything you want to achieve, there is nothing wrong with being stagnant, being content, not wanting to do anything extra because you're happy with your lifestyle. However, that is a very, very, very rare case. I know a lot of you listening, or that you are going to listen in the future now, are content with life, but there is stuff that you want to improve. There is something you want to try. There is something you want to learn. And I believe it is important that you try different things, because everyone's on about, especially my age, oh, I want to go traveling to find myself, to discover myself, all of this stuff. I want to do this, and this. And I really feel like this is going to help find me. Now, yeah, this is the case. This is very, very, very important, is self-discovery. But I don't think traveling does that for people. It's more than just traveling, going on holiday, meeting new people, where all your worries, all your troubles are gone because you're not working, you're not having to deal with everyday stress, you're going to different places, you're going to try different activities, you're doing a whole variety of different things, and it makes life easy. And this is where people get blindsided for when they come back. They genuinely haven't actually discovered who they are. They just had a prolonged vacation. They've had don't get me wrong, I've been traveling and loved it. They've just had a prolonged vacation where they actually haven't discovered anything about themselves whatsoever. They've just had fantastic memories and maybe have found one thing that they want to continue on in the future in a part-time activity. Now, going back to my original point on egos and being humble, a lot of people my age, especially 20, 21, younger people, even older people, 30, 40, 50, 60 year olds, try and do different things. Now, What I'm currently trying to do is build 2 different businesses, maybe 3 different businesses, trying to read this podcast, writing blogs, etc., etc. Now, the reason why I'm doing all of those is not based off of the sole fact to gain an audience, make money, and all of the stereotypical things you would associate with a business. Yes, those are key factors, and yes, that is important to what I'm trying to do. But what I am trying to do is build on the promise or the premise of something greater than just money or the freedom or stuff like that. It's built on trying to help people in specific areas. For example, with the Mind Blueprint podcast, it's to talk on a variety of different topics that you may find useful, you may find interesting, and help change your outlook on life. It's the same case with the blog. The blog will talk about different topics and, again, try and change your outlook on life on a variety of different topics. My other 2 businesses are built on trying to help aid and improve people's websites, just improve their skill sets, and a whole variety of different things. They're built on trying to improve people's situations, people's actual lifestyles, and enhance the quality of their life. That's the premise they're built on, and that's the premise they will continue to be built on if they're successful or if they're not. Because, again, businesses quite often fail. Not a lot of them are successful. It's 9 out of 10. Every 9 out of 10 businesses fail, are not successful, are not profitable, and go into remission. So this may be the case with this podcast, my blog, my other 2 businesses, but I will always remain in the state of being humble. Now, sometimes my ego can get out of check. Sometimes it is a bit bigger than what I currently am. However, as soon as it is like that, I notice it immediately with the stuff I say, with how I act. It's abnormal to me as a person, who I genuinely am and how I am on a day-to-day basis. So it's very easy for me to spot, because I act and I'm just a completely different person. So when I notice I'm doing something that I don't normally do, I know it is due to me either gloating or being ego or being big-headed, and I cut this out. However, a lot of people don't know that they're being big-headed or they have a massive ego. It's just part of who they are as a person. Sometimes people call it cockiness. Some people say, oh, they're just confident, where in actual fact, it's gloating. It's saying I am amazing and you are not as good as me. Now, I've had this in the past. When a specific example is when I was working in Liverpool. At the time, I was working as a forex trader, and I had my Christmas bonus. I got paid £1,000 in cash, so I came home with £1,000 in my wallet. Stupid idea, because it was a lot of money at the time, and if I would have got robbed, that would have been £1,000 gone. Now, I was talking to a girl at this time, and I took her for a meal. I took her out and did stuff, but I was showing off. All I was talking about was money this, money that, what I was doing in my job, how amazing it was, and stuff like this. Now, at the time, I felt like we had a good vibe. She was a very attractive woman, and I thought it was going well. However, later coming to find out, the reason why it didn't work is due to myself having a massive, massive ego complex, thinking I was someone better than I was. Now, that was my lesson learned with egos. I believe that we can benefit from having an ego, and that is the lesson that we learn from it, because a lot of the time it gets rid of situations that may have been, like, I may have had a relationship with this person, I may not have, but the simple fact that all I was talking about was money, my job, me, put her off me, because she wasn't attracted to me, simply because of, as I said, all I would talk about is money and all that stuff. Now, a lot of people my age suffer from this. I find it amazing how people are completely different, that they've moved on from college, university, switched jobs and stuff, without actually building something that they're passionate about. Or there's nothing I love more than seeing someone, I don't know, a friend of mine that's an upcoming artist. A good example of my friend is a guy that I've known for a very, very, very long time, since I was about 8 or 9, so more than a decade. And his he's been into music for a while, and he's got his own website, and he's launching new music and selling his beats. Now, he's very talented. I've listened to some of his beats and some of the overlaid songs that people have used his beats on, and they are very, very, very good, very high quality. And you can tell this because he's made of passion. This is what he loves to do outside of uni work, outside of hanging out with friends. This is what he does in his spare time. So this is built on him having fun, enjoying the process. Now, there is also someone else that I know that is doing the exact same thing, and has achieved more, but is doing it with an ego. He has a big ego complex, and he was rising, and he fell due to him being too big than he thought, demanding too high of prices, doing a lot of things that he shouldn't have been doing at his level. Now, you have different levels of artists, in my opinion. Some of them are, you would call megastars like Drake, Ed Sheeran, Beyonce, Rihanna, all of that level. Then you have up and coming, and then you have well known, and then you have smaller people underneath that again are acting too bigger than they are. And because of the ego complex that person had, it really limited their progression into being an artist. Now, I believe they could have been incredible, could have been very, very, very good, but because of the way they acted, the things they said, the things they did, they turned down opportunities which would have helped progress their journey, their career, help them advance. And because they rejected them, they started limiting their opportunities. The companies that wanted to hire them, the venues that wanted to have them on, the artists that wanted them to have on their tours that were going to be an introductory act to them, started to get less and less and called less and less, and so eventually it ran out because nobody wanted them on their just to give them any opportunities, because they were demanding too high of prices. They were demanding outrageous things that at the time they didn't deserve, and due to that, it led to their downfall, and they regret it because they could have been big. They could have been, I'm not going to say like megastars, but they could have had a very, very, very nice lifestyle where they would have get paid a good amount of money to do the thing that they love. But because they didn't, they're now not able to do that because the opportunity has come and gone, and they didn't have the right mindset, the right attitude, and they didn't take full advantage of it. And it led to, again, just their downfall, them not being able to produce music for a living. And they regret it. They regret it every day, just because there's no longer any opportunities for them. They're no longer relevant, and as you know, relevancy is a big factor in doing anything really. Because if you have the audience, then people are going to want to use you and hire you because you can generate them leads, money, popularity, whatever it is. But once you don't have that retention anymore, it's gone. You're no longer in society's deemed good enough, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the reason, as I said, I want to talk about how we can check our egos and check ourselves. Now, the one thing I think that you have an ego complex, and how you can tell if you have an ego complex, is if someone corrects you, if somebody suggests you to do it a different way, or doesn't agree with your idea, you get very defensive, you don't take anything on board, you start shouting, you start getting aggressive, and you don't want to listen to what they have to say. You think your idea is the be-all and end-all of everything, even if it's not on an area of expertise, and you think you know best. Now, I can sometimes understand when you do have an idea and you know it's best, and it does work out to be best, and that's fine. There are other ideas and other situations when you have something that will arise where you think you know best, that you think you know the answer to it, but in actual fact you have no idea what you're talking about. And this is what I'm on about. You get aggressive, you don't listen to what anyone has to say, and you're the be all and end all. And this is a very good indication of when you have an ego or you have a complex where you think you're better than everyone. Now, if this is you, I suggest you pay attention to how you react when people speak to you, how you react to when people correct you, suggest something else, and how you are towards them. Because if you're rash, aggressive, then you're going to start pushing them away. You're going to start limiting the the opportunities you have, because you think you are bigger than you actually are. And I've had to deal with this. This is something I've learned from, as I previously said in my story, that you need, I hope, in the nicest way possible, that your ego does catch up with you, so you can learn quick and fast that you, in the nicest way possible, you aren't as big as you think you are. You aren't worth as much as you deem you are to society right now. Yes, you may be worth what you think you are now in 5 years, 10 years, a year's time. However, this current moment, you are not worth what you're thinking or who you think you are. Now, another way you can tell if you have an ego complex or you just have like a bad mindset, a negative mindset, is, let's say, for example, you are following someone on Instagram and you have been for a while. You know them in real life, they're a friend of yours, and they try something new. Let's say, for example, hypothetically, they try art. They want to become an artist, and they now have a newfound hobby where they are painting people. They are painting portraits, and they get a lucky break. They get spotted by an artist likes their work, that artist recommends them to a museum, that museum really, really, really likes their style. They don't have a style like that in their current museum, in their current pieces, and they want to put a few of their artworks in a display, in an exhibitory. Now, that's going to lead to monetary gain. They're going to get paid quite a lot of money. Their artwork is going to be seen by a larger audience, and overall their life is going to become better. Now, as of you're seeing this, you're seeing their journey because they're storying about it, you hear about it, they talk to you about it, and yet you are jealous. You are not happy for them. You wish that was you. You wish that they didn't achieve this success. You wish that they were the same person and they weren't progressing. Now, this is probably the worst mindset, in my opinion, that you can have, that thinking just because you aren't achieving that somebody else shouldn't, is a big, big, big telltale that you, I would say, have an ego complex. I don't know if it's something else, that you're jealous, that you're a bit bitter, but I believe ego, bitterness, jealousy all go hand in hand, because if you're not achieving, if you're not being happy, if you're not progressing, then you don't want anyone else to progress. And now that's the mindset that I know a lot of people have, especially my age, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I believe people to check themselves and realign their mindset with what they truly want. Now, it's all good and well. Sometimes, yes, you can be jealous with seeing someone's success, but instead of being jealous about their success, be happy for them and use it as motivation. If I had a friend that had an art piece in a museum, I would go with them to celebrate. I would go to them, the open event, saying congratulations, being there, celebrating their success, because at the end of the day, they're a part of your life, you're a part of their life, and so there's nothing better than being with people that celebrate your successes. You can make £10 million, you can become a famous singer. If there's no one to share these experiences with, if there's no one to reap the rewards with and share the benefits of, then in my opinion, I don't see the point in doing anything, because at the end of the day, it's who you share these things with that make them enjoyable. Yes, it's always nice to have a lot of money in the bank account, but it's about what you do with that money, what you do with these experiences, what you do with these opportunities, and who you impact that really generates the rewards. And that's what I think a lot of people need to hear, because at the end of the day, you have to be selfishly focused on yourself. You have to be really, really, really driven in the fact that you want your life to improve. You want your financial situation, your health, your wealth, anything in your life, you need to be selfish on and put yourself first. Unless the only thing I disagree with is if you have kids. If you have kids, number one priority. But the concept of you can't make anyone else happy until you're happy is the same purpose of you can't help anyone until you've helped yourself. Now, if you're not in a place financially where you can help someone, then you shouldn't be helping them financially. If you're not in a place where you can offer someone advice based off of experiences, then you shouldn't be offering that advice simply because you aren't in a position to do so. Now, what I want you to take away from this podcast is, if you have an ego complex, please try and do something about it. If you notice that you have an ego complex with people successes or your own success and how you speak to people and how you act, then try and change it by doing things that I've talked about previously in the podcast. I also want you to try and help somebody out that may be in a less fortunate position than you. Maybe it's a charity, maybe it's a soup kitchen, whatever it is. If you have an ego complex, the main thing is to recognize it and humble yourself, because the sooner you humble yourself and recognize in the nicest way possible you don't mean shit right now, it will do you in great stead. But yeah, I thought I'd just wrap up episode 4 of talking about egos, why they're probably detrimenting you right now and how they're going to hinder you in the future, and what you can do about it. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Mind Blueprint. It's been a bit more unstructured, as I just wanted to get it off my chest, really, because there's a lot of people that I've seen that do have an ego complex that aren't helping others and don't want to add value and don't want to support other people and see their success. And I just feel like a lot of you could benefit from hearing this. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. And I hope you have had a fantastic week. As I always say, I love you all. You mean everything to me, and I hope to see you on the next episode. Peace.